Hello, everybody. What is going on? Welcome in. It is the Wrestling Mat. Happy holidays to you all. Look, I'm here. Little surprise running. What's going on? Yeah, live for everybody today. Last show of the year. It's all over the place last couple days. I said I'd get at least one more in before the end of the year. Here I am. Welcome in. How about a little more brightness? Got my Go Ace shirt on today. Shout out to President Tanahashi. And that and whatever. Go Ace. What's going on? How are you? Pretty wide open show today. Kind of wanted to look back on the year. Want to hear your comments on the year of pro wrestling, where you see things going, what you liked about this year, what you hope we see going forward. I'm obviously excited. A lot to talk about. Big weekend in Hammerstein. I will be heading there at some point. Final battle tonight. Seems to be a lot of buzz about Jericho and Cardona. Big angle, big part of it last week at GCW, which was cool. Kind of hope Matt Cardona sticks around. I hope that's the case. I hope that's what we get to. And then, of course, the C2. Loaded weekend. Darby and Ospreay. I have been calling it everywhere the most anticipated match of the Continental Classic. It delivered, I would have to say, and I can't wait to see those guys mix it up again. That would be pretty awesome, but they delivered. They delivered in a very big way, and moving on to a big weekend with Collision and Collision and Miracle, on 34th Street. All of that stuff coming up this weekend at Hammerstein. I don't know if there's that many tickets left, but I will tell you this from someone who has seen a lot of wrestling in that building. Multiple, I think almost exclusively Ring of Honor shows. It is one of those special places in wrestling. It is one of those places that you step foot in and you go, I'm supposed to be here. This is where, or not necessarily I'm supposed to be here, but wrestling is supposed to happen here. That's what I've always taken from Hammerstein. Wrestling, it is supposed to happen here. It is made for wrestling. I remember going to see Hangman. I forgot what he was doing he moonsaults a couple balconies up right off of it. I remember seeing Will Ospreay and Jay White in that building. I remember seeing Dalton Castle win the ROH championship, I believe, in that building. I remember seeing Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole have a great match. This was, if I remember correctly, towards the end of their initial runs in Ring of Honor. But it is just the way, for those that have not seen Hammerstein, and I realize, production changed over the years, and I was there when Ring of Honor taping, if I remember correctly, the Hardys came out and they beat the Bucks, or they showed up, whatever it was. I was there. I was at that show, the one where Bubba showed up. I think that was all the same taping or whatever. But that arena, if you're looking, if you're coming out the entrance, almost it's steps sometimes it's, however they have it set up. But when you walk out of there as a wrestler, you obviously have the fans on either side of you, but you look up at now all of the balconies of people. And you can see that, to me, is an unbelievable visual if you are about to walk through the curtain and head to the ring. And people are on top of you in a way where it feels like they're very much part of the action. And it makes for an unbelievable atmosphere. And you guys have seen this from, ECW shows to Sandman's entrance to Cena and RVD to, you name it. Ring of Honor has had so many special shows there. And, the stuff with New Japan. I believe that was the building where the IWGP United States Championship was unveiled. Now, many years ago, championship held by the likes of Kenny Omega. I believe Jay had it, right? Juice. Yeah. But it was unveiled in that building. So very special building. Very excited for all the shows there this weekend. I know a lot of tournament action. You're going to probably see it tomorrow, but I'm going to be doing something on Ricochet and Will Ospreay for the DK Network, where I've been writing articles. Just kind of looking at the history of the match that they're going to have this weekend and how we got to that point. And I do think there is some validity. I heard with Ricochet said in an interview recently that, there is no AEW without me. And people took that a lot of different ways. But I do think there is some validity to Ospreay and Ricochet being one of the dominoes, their rivalry and how viral that went. And there are people that love to see, oh my God, that was unbelievable. And there are people that hated it. And there's, old guy wrestler. He can't. What is this? Cirque du Soleil? That is such the most tired. Oh, it's not Cirque du Soleil. That's Cirque du Soleil. Shit. Okay, got it. Right, okay. Let's get another chin lock in there. But I do think because of how much of an impact that match made, and it wasn't the only time they wrestled, but how much of an impact that match made, I do think that opened the door for more of that style of wrestling to be in the mainstream. And yeah, it is something that I think you've gotten to see a lot more of because of AEW. And sure, other companies are going to run that way, but it's much more in the mainstream now of, cable television, soon to be streaming, the motherhood of all streams coming your way, simulcast coming your way on January 1st on Max. So I do think they're responsible for it. So I wanted to look back before they have this match in the C2, which is different stakes and a different atmosphere than they've ever wrestled in before. Yes, they have battled in New Japan. Yes, they've battled around the world. Yes, they battled on the 5th anniversary of Dynamite, which did not have a conclusive finish because of Takeshita. But now you're going to get to see Ricochet and Ospreay do it again at very different parts of their career. I especially say that for Will Ospreay and where he's at right now. And how far he has come. But it's also happening in the Hammerstein Ballroom. And to me, that's pretty special, because they've, had this match before. How do you take it to another level? How do you make it mean more? Continental Classic, both guys, vying to get to the semifinals at World's End next weekend. And you do it in a place that is, I would have to say, and we can have this conversation live. Hit me up here. What do you think? Probably should help if I put this up. What do you think are the most iconic bucket list? I hate that term, but you know what I mean. Like, what are the places you want to see wrestling in? Like I never got to go to a proper ECW show. That always bothered me. I got to work the ECW arena in my first weekend of getting paid to do anything, within wrestling outside of talking about it. That was cool. I've gotten to work and be a spectator, fan, whatever, and various roles at the ECW arena before it got all pretty like it is now. There you go. Tom. Oh, hello, Tom Green. Tom Green, everybody. Internet hero of 2024. Wrestling. I'd like to just name this right now. Tom, I'm glad you're here. This is a very special award that I'm going to be giving out right now for 2024, and the long, long, long storied history of the wrestling mat. Forget the Video Vanguard Award. Forget from the MTV Music Awards. Forget the golden bucket of popcorn. Forget the Lifetime Achievement Award. Tom Green gets the official Wrestling Mat 2024 Nice Guy of the Year Award for outstanding content in a world where people just embrace yelling and hating wrestling or whatever to get YouTube views and whatever. Tom is the opposite. I embrace Tom for being able to bring positivity and fun to wrestling as his only goal. And he continues to do that and help people along the way. And I give him 5 booms out of 5 for a great 2024. Boom, 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 boom. Add all 4. I can't. It's not the same. I mean, obviously, I'm a talker, not a. But Tom, if people aren't following you enough, Tom's put out some great stuff in addition to WCW deep cuts in the last couple of weeks with AJ and Big Justice, Eddie Kingston, the Conglomeration. You should be following that channel because it's everything right about enjoying pro wrestling. So make sure you're watching Tom on Twitch and his YouTube channel and share his stuff and comment on it when you like it because we need more of that in the world. And Tom's son is going to be AW World Champion in like, I don't know, about 10 years. So it's good to be friends with him now. That's my like actual motivation for this, Tom, just so you know. When Noli's a big champ and he decides he's such a big deal that he needs his own personal ring announcer, I'm just saying. I would be happy to announce Noli to the ring. By the way, Tom answered my question. Arena Mexico, Hammerstein, MSG pre-renovation, Corrigan Hall. Those are all good ones. I have seen wrestling at MSG pre-renovation. Have I told this story? The week of my high school graduation. Thank you, Tom, for once again helping me jog a random memory. So 2003, it is the week of my high school graduation. I grew up in northern New Jersey. We went to school very late into the year, I guess. We graduated. We was always like end of June. So I was graduating on June 25th, 2003. June 23rd, Monday Night Raw was at MSG. June 24th, SmackDown was taping in MSG. I had acquired or bought tickets to go see SmackDown with my 12-year-old sister, I think. Did I go with her? Yeah, I think so. But I didn't have tickets for Raw. So I had learned, and some of you are going to shake your head because you know this or you don't. I had learned that I went to King of the Ring in 2001 when Booker T made his debut, when Shane and Kurt had them. Yes, I was at that King of the Ring. I was at Kurt Angle throwing Shane through the glass after 3 attempts. Booker T's debut. But I learned something on that day. My friend who got us tickets to that show got it through somebody at the arena. And they were like $15 tickets. And they were obstructed view. So this is, remember, King of the Ring. And we get there and it's like obstructed view. Well, we get to these obstructed view tickets and they were up in the corner behind the Tron and was like, this. And they're like, you have to move. We have to move you. Okay, you guys want better? Okay, sure. And we get brought down. For whatever reason, these were not sold. Maybe they opened up day of. We get brought down to the floor. I was 20 rows back behind the announcers for King of the Ring 2001. And Booker T ran by us and all that. And I was like, oh, I might have learned something here. Buy the obstructed view tickets, because if you do, you'll get moved around. So we fast forward to 2003. And I go to New York. I didn't live that far away from it. Go to Manhattan, go to MSG, and I buy tickets at the box office. Day of, obstructed view. I knew what I was doing. $15 by myself. I was a real cool 18-year-old, obviously. God, I couldn't wait to get out of my high school. That was a big part of it. So I am up in the corner above the Tron. So this was like the Across the Nation era. So they had those weird squiggly things down the side, if I remember correctly, 2003. That sounds right. They had those weird like Thunderbolt panes of glass or whatever that were next to like the Raw set for, I don't know, for artistic purposes. But I'm like up behind them. So they might have been taping heat or whatever, but they come in. Oh, we got to move you. These are, you want to sit in better seats? Okay, no problem. And the move worked because I then got sat next to the ramp. You know, like when Copeland runs out and he runs to the corner, like I was in one of those seats, but on the floor. And I watched for $15. So I knew that trick worked. I went to SmackDown the next night. That Raw, by the way, was Kane losing his mask and Foley being presented that hardcore title and then getting dumped down the stairs to set up the rain. What was it? Was that? Maybe not. Definitely the Kane mask thing. Kane losing his mask and taking it off, and the hair just being in a clump in the mask. That was weird. And then the next night was, I think I was at the final appearance of Mr. America. Or close to it. I think that was an MSG show. That was also, this is a random one, that weekend leading into those shows at MSG. So that would have been June 23rd and 24th. Raw was live. SmackDown was taped. Brock, like, fell off a boat that weekend and, like, cut his leg on the rudder or something like that. He was okay. And my 18-year-old smart ass brings a sign that says Brock Lesnar fears boats. Like I had, and I apologize for that now, almost 22 years later. But the obstructed view thing worked. I think I might have told this. I was at the first ECW on Sci-Fi tapings. It was in Trenton, New Jersey. Once again, my friend and I got intentionally cheap obstructed view seats. And we were up in the corner. If you remember those first ECW shows, they had the full SmackDown set, but next to it, they would put that little like box stage for ECW. And they put like those stars behind it, if you remember, and they would kind of push that out. And they did that for a bit. Like they had that kind of smaller area for ECW to enter from, and they would tape those before SmackDown. So I'm up looking down on that, but still a little obstructed. And they're about to start the show. And they go, hey, we're going to move you. Better seats. All right. So we get moved from the corner to dead center, middle mezzanine or whatever, to watch the ECW tapings. And that was like, that Battle Royal they did and the Zombie and, it was Sandman and Sap. It was so weird. And then right before SmackDown starts, we get moved again. And then they put us next to the ramp. I don't remember anything about that SmackDown, whatever happened that night in Trenton, but I got moved again. So I don't think they're having this problem or they're having this these days. This didn't work for me one time. I went to Night of Champions in Philly. I think it was Jeff and Punk. But I remember there was a really good Michelle McCool Melina match that if I remember, like, isn't there a story like they got in trouble because it was too good? There's a spot where Melina's on the barricade. And if I remember, like Michelle like kicks her leg and she does the split on the barricade as I shake my camera. Just fantastic. But yeah, they sold enough tickets that night that they didn't move anybody. I don't know how obstructive view though. That used to be money. But I got to go see MSG. That was the point of all this. Arena Mexico, I'd love to get to. Once sold out 47 weekends in a row by Harley Graham. I don't know if you know that. Corkin Hall. It was out with friends last night. They said they were going to Japan, and I had immediate jealousy of I would love to do a full wrestling week in Japan, if timed correctly, which I assume would be, you'd probably want to base that around what? Wrestle Kingdom in a couple weeks, or maybe the G1. I'd want to be able to go to multiple shows. I want to be able to go to Stardom. I'd want to be able to go to New Japan. I would like to be able to go to DDT if possible. Other iconic. Okay, so got to throw Allstate Arena and the various names it has had. I was at Money in the Bank 2011 there. I don't think, like, you could see the look of Hammerstein, and you could see the look of Kirkenhall, and you could see the look MSG always had when they took that shot when anybody went up to the second buckle, and you could see that roof MSG is iconic to me. I always liked that MSG, depending on the set, would use the doors, the straight-on entrance, the old-school entrance, which then, shifted around, and they did the Raw set, but, you think of SummerSlam 98 when they went through the doors. You think of WrestleMania 2000, where, they had that, they wanted to do the dead-on entrance. I love that. The Rumble, shooting, so, like, it's such an old-school look to me. But there's noticeable attributes. I don't think that Allstate has those. If you've been there and you've wrestled there, everyone, I think Austin said, a lot of people said it's got the best acoustics. It's got the wood ceiling. It's an old building, but it always sounds good. It's always a great fan base. Chicago's obviously a very special wrestling town. But that building, while it doesn't really show off anything on TV. I don't think it does. That really sets it apart, especially knowing it's one of the loudest, most iconic places out there. I don't think there's any elements of it that are visual that are like, oh, they're at Allstate. They're in Chicago. It's not even in Chicago. The old Boston Garden, I think, is in the conversation. The Omni. The Tabernacle. Maybe only because I always used to hear that promoted, where that's where ECW was going. We'll be at the Tabernacle in Georgia. Sportatorium, obviously. I'm just trying to think of, like, active stuff. Like, I know people want to go to the Cow Palace, and then I'm also like, it's not the best place. It's not really kept up well. So the ECW arena is much nicer than it used to be. I still think it's like, when I watched, what was the last thing there? I remember when Tony popped up for Stardom there over Mania weekend. I remember seeing that. I was down there for Mania weekend at the Busted Open stuff, and then NXT was there, and, like, you could tell that's the arena, right? Even though it's nicer than it used to be, you can still tell that's the ECW arena. It is much nicer than maybe what you used to see in the 90s and whatever. But it's still got that. I had actually pitched a show. Once again, a lot of stuff happened like right before whatever COVID. I had pitched a show to WWE where I visited iconic venues, and basically each episode we would talk about the moments that happened there, maybe show a match from there, get some commentary, whether it's from archival footage. But I thought there was a pretty cool show to do of, here we are at the ECW arena. And you could, while you're there, like, oh, also right down the road, this happened here, especially, there have been WrestleManias right down the road. There have been you could kind of make it a city thing. You go to, MSG. Oddly, I think I would go to the Izod Center, even though it's nothing special. So many things happen in Jersey, Brendan Byrne Arena, Continental Airlines, whatever the hell you want to call it, the Meadowlands area. I would go to the Boston Garden area. I think that would be a show. I would go to Chicago. What other venues would you associate with big wrestling moments where, Maple Leaf Gardens? I think that, yeah. Someone brought the Elks Lodge. The Elks Lodge is a good one. Yeah, that would have to be obviously more ECW centric. The Elks Lodge That's another one. Everybody's on top of you, right? In that way. I like that. What other venues? I'll give you a real random one. Club La Vila. Anywhere where Nitro Spring Breaks episodes were shot. You get the Cannonball into the pool, Hall and Nash. You get there's so much stuff there. I say it all the time. Those different looking venues always pop me. I love that First Wrestling's been running Mall of America. I love that GCW ran the American Dream Mall in Jersey. Matthew brought it up here, Manhattan Center, Hammerstein Ballroom. So I have actually also seen, I went to a TNA show and they ran the Manhattan Center. I remember correctly, Jeff Hardy took like a crazy bump off a cage. But I actually they ran the Manhattan Center instead of the Hammerstein, which are all right there. But I've never worked at the building, so that's cool. Ryan said, "You always like the way the spring break shows look." Yes, those are great. Nerdy Dude, hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Yes, hello to the chat out there. What are you guys thinking about today? What's up to David? Tom, Clam Baked, who shouted out Tom, Matthew, Ryan, Nerdy Dude, what's up? Do you like the vault? And what do you think on the vault? The vault is cool. Everybody's enjoying the vault. The vault felt like a really big rib on me, but that's just the joke I'm telling. No, the vault's fantastic. Look, I have seen the concern about libraries and how much is going to pop up. There's some good news on that front somewhere else. I'll get to that in a second. I'm glad the vault exists, and I hope that wrestling fans who love wrestling still get to see libraries that they like to watch. I don't know what the plans are for what's going to migrate over to Netflix. I just hope some stuff doesn't get locked away for good, or it doesn't become a priority or what. I don't know. But the vault is a good thing to have. However, in fantastic news, it was announced yesterday via a press release, via a very nice thing to read on the internet that many of us were looking forward to potentially seeing. But ahead of the mother of all simulcasts on January 1st on Max and on TBS, this was announced yesterday by all the big partners. All live AEW programming airing on WBD's networks will also be available to stream on Max and on demand after the live broadcast. I think a lot of us knew that already. Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage, and all new pay-per-view library content through the end of 2024 will be made available on Max on a rolling basis. This is exactly how it went for the network. Not everything was there at the beginning. It takes time. And believe me, you don't want to watch stuff that's not ready to be put up there yet. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. At launch, all AEW Dynamite episodes and pay-per-views from the company's inaugural 2019 year will be available. You get 1 year already, as well as more than 2 months of the most recent AEW program that aired across WB's networks. That's awesome. I'm so excited about that. I'm so excited for fans who get to, I've talked about this for months, to get to go back and watch some of that stuff. I love being able to go look up at something as a nerd. And I know it's available, but like, hey, I want to go watch this Dynamite, what was happening at the time. So it's exactly how a rollout like this should go. I'm excited it's going this way. I'm excited that, I think more and more it sounds like we'll end up on there. And, being able to have the history in one place is a really, really good thing. And that's great for fans. So that's good news. Ryan Keefe said the vault is what I always wanted the old network to be, uploading hidden gems, stuff you never seen. Yeah, hidden gems went away. I don't know. Matt, in 2026 is the 30th anniversary of the Hollywood Backlot Brawl, and I think the final match in the series of Timeless Tony Storm Mariah May at Revolution's Backlot Brawl. Hey, Tony's just happy to be here right now. Tony's just happy to be here right now. Sean, what's up? Great pitch for the show. Hey, buddy. Sean has a Sean Cohn's here. Sean and I, Coney. Sean used to watch my stuff on Bleacher Report all the time. He's a big wrestling fan. He used to make me some great photoshops. Sean has a podcast that if you like music in entertainment, like real bands, fake bands, K Flicks Fiction Radio, 198.4 K Flicks Fiction Radio. Sean hosts it with his friend Dustin, and they have done episodes on music from Walk Hard, which is one of my favorites, from Disney movies, from let's see, Saved by the Bell, from Animal House, from just different Doug from Nickelodeon, all that stuff. Back to the Future is a great episode. So kind of like the music within those movies of who are these bands? Were they real? Were they have real musicians in them? Where did the music come from? Oh, there's like weird like connections to other movies. It's a great podcast. Highly recommend you checking it out. And I might be on one of those soon. But Sean goes back. And he's a great wrestling fan, and he does great work on the internet. Sean created the Sandler verse, one of the most popular and beautiful YouTube videos out there. All right, anyway, I like to shout out the people that are here. Good to have you. Ryan says the ROH library go on there too, since AW owns it. There's Honor Club for that right now. Nerdy says, luckily in Germany, I still have the WWE Network. No plans for AW in Germany because we don't have Max yet. All right, I hope that happens soon. Yeah, you're Nerdy dude, you're on the short list of people I think who still have the network. I don't know how much longer that's going to go on. So a couple things I admittedly I don't love year-end stuff. I am not a big like it's a new year, things are going to be different. Like it's just a calendar. But I was thinking of stuff that I liked from this year that really stood out to me. I really enjoyed, and it feels like it was forever ago now. I want to make sure I think I have this right. Christian Cage, Adam Copeland, I Quit match, TNT title, back in March on Dynamite. Loved it. It is so fun. It, obviously you think of a match like that. It happens in Toronto. Everybody's fired up. That's also the night that Okada beat Eddie Kingston. How about that? I'm just looking back on this card. But they go 25 minutes. It is so damn good. It is so good. And I think it is the match that they never had in WWE for whatever reason. And it was a great venue, the jerseys and the pull-up. It's so good. Definitely make sure you get eyes on that. Obviously, everything with Punk and Drew this year really stood out. I really enjoyed the Swerve and Hangman stuff, Tony and Mariah. Tony's going to have so many gems when it's all said and done. And her interview with RJ this week was, as I said on Twitter, I hope Nigel signs our ROH DVDs. Yeah, I've enjoyed seeing people step up in the last year, whether that be like a Harley Cameron, I think has been tremendous, very engaging. Obafemi's been brought up here. Obviously a big year for him and only getting bigger. I want to give a shout out to Ren Sinclair. I think she's been excellent so far in NXT. I think this has been a very big year for Jada Parker. I think this might be the most, if you consider everything in wrestling, and I am saying this about people who are active wrestlers. I am not saying this about people or trying to compare it to back in the late 90s when, yes, certain people like Sable or Sunny or Cindy Margolis or, all that stuff, they were being presented based on their looks and not wearing clothes and all that. And hey, listen, it's not like that anymore. That was the role back then, whether you liked it or not. Obviously, women are presented much differently and as overall all-around performers. And I really think that if you look at 2024, and it's not far from perfect, that I think this has been the most impactful year for women. I don't want to say in history because that's not fair, but I just think in terms of not standing behind, but standing at least side by side and in some cases steps ahead of the men in terms of star power, in terms of popularity, in terms of things that people want to see. Believe me, there are old wrestling people who still think that women's wrestling doesn't draw, and it's, they don't want to see that. But think about, like, it's not a thing anymore. Although I am excited tonight. Apparently, Athena and Billy Starks are main eventing Hammerstein, which is cool. And they're going to have a hell of a match tonight, rematch that final battle from last year. But we don't seem to have those first time. Like, it's just the norm. I saw that Trish and Lita are celebrating, the anniversary of their main event on Raw. And that didn't become the norm after that. It was still an anomaly. And now it's just the norm everywhere. Women close the shows. Women open the shows. Women main event. Promo time. It's, once again, it's not perfect. But I think right now, and maybe it is kind of sad that it's taken in 2024 for me to even say this or to feel it based on what I've seen in the year. But I think, and I'm not saying they're handled always this way, but from a star power standpoint, and I'll say this about star power. Star power is not just the wrestler. Star power to me is you can run with it. It's having the ability to carry yourself as a star because of what you have within you, because of what your character is, but also because you can handle what that means in terms of how you're presented, how you're pushed. Where our power is that person carries themselves like I want to know more about them. They have a magnetism about them, and they can handle whatever you throw in their way. And I think that's a big part of it as well. Stars can handle themselves. Stars, you trust the star to handle whatever they need to handle. You trust them to carry things. You put people with them that you want to get a spotlight, that you want to get more shine. And right now, I think when you look at how prevalent, how dominant, how ingrained women are, AEW, WWE, TNA. I think I've seen more talk about women's wrestling, especially as it relates to Stardom, than I've seen in quite some time. And people have made those, jumps over, trips over. You have Forbidden Door. You have people getting signed, whatever it might be. And it's a big deal. But it's a big deal because it's the first blah, blah, blah. No, she's a star. She's awesome. She's a moneymaker. She's a ratings draw. She moves, whatever it is. I think we have, thankfully, more women like that now than we've ever had before. Like, no one can deny Toni Storm for the last year and a half. why you see her on so many posters. That's why she got a black and white figure. That's, you can't deny her. And wherever she's at right now, this is the evolution of her. You can't deny, like, Mariah May she even talked about this. Hey, it's not about men or women. Who's doing the best stuff? Yeah, earn it. Go get it. Listen to her talk. Listen to her confidence. Rhea Ripley, obviously a massive star. Arguably the biggest star on Monday Night Raw. Arguably a top 3 most popular talent in WWE. Liv has been rolling all year long. The views back it up. The numbers back it up. Willow and Chris, everything they did this year, having that violent match that they had, and how good that was. I think Tiffany Stratton has had an unbelievable year and has organically found a fan base that is enamored with how good she is. There's a lot of that going on right now, and that's good. I don't think they've scratched the surface with Jade Cargill in WWE yet. Now she's out of action. And obviously Bianca's massive, and you can put them in so many different spots and represent the company. We're in a much better spot with that. There's still work to be done. No doubt about it. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Julia Hart, who, think about what she was when we first saw her in AEW and where she is now. Good. She's there is somebody who very much gets the full-on scope of what it is to be a wrestler and to have more to you than just what's going on in the ring or looks or whatever. There's a mysteriousness of what is she doing? What is she going to do next? Once again, I love that word magnetism. So if you have that in wrestling, sometimes it doesn't matter where you're wrestling, who you're wrestling, where you're wrestling on the card. That magnetism goes a long way because people want to see you. They're intrigued by you. That's the key to pro wrestling. Are you intriguing people? God, I gotta see that. Or what's going to happen next? Where could this go? Marina Shafir's a great example. Took her time to find her way. She's got it now. Who the hell would want to cross her? Evolution. But that's, you want to have your senses tingled. That's it. That's what you want that's what I want from wrestling. I went, oh man, I never expected that. Right? Whoa, that connected with me in a way. Anna Jay on Wednesday against Mercedes. The DC crowd was with her. They wanted to see that go down. There is an element of, I think, because of how long she's been at AEW, hey, this would be a hell of an upset. Mercedes took care of business as we saw, but as I pointed out on Twitter, she hit that gory bomb. Won her a lot of matches. Mercedes did not kick out. She had to grab the rope. Just saying. Ryan said it's a good point to me. Rhea is top 10 or top 5 in the company, man or woman. Absolutely. Ryan says, I think Drew's been the 2024 MVP. He was able to be the heel. I know he's always could have been. Yeah, Drew's been fantastic. Drew and Hangman are, I think I did a few months ago. I still think I feel this way. I think it's some kind of combination of Drew, Hangman, who else? And I think Drew, Hangman, Gunther, Swerve, to me, had the biggest years. Biggest body, a lot of body of work, a lot of consistency. Their biggest feuds were huge. I throw Tony Storm into that conversation as well. Nerdy Dude just said Kevin Owens, who I don't think you're going to find many people who see him and go, well, no, there's no well actually to Kevin. Kevin's pretty firmly established. And as I have said, the fact that that guy has not held a world championship of any kind in like 7 years and has remained in the main event for as long as he has, is a very big testament to who he is and how capable and how good he is. So I'm glad you guys shared your thoughts. If you didn't watch live, share them down below. Put them in the comments. This is going to be it for the year. Got some traveling, I had all my Christmas plans changed like 2 hours ago. Everything's good, but seems to be. So I'm kind of like shifting around when I was going to be able to do things, and I thought I'd be traveling today, and I, likely be at Hammerstein. If you see me, say hello this weekend. If I think I'm going to end up there at some point. But I wanted to say thank you to everybody for a great year as we started this up, 6 months ago. I didn't know where things were going or where they'd be, but because of your support, whether you were a subscriber, whether you were a member, whether you were somebody like Nerdy Dude who gifted memberships, whether you bought a shirt at ProWrestlingTees.com/TheMattCamp, which is still available and makes a great gift for any time of the year. Whether you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, rate and reviewed in there. Maybe you left a comment, whatever. If you supported the show in any way, thank you very much. You've allowed me to have a voice at a time when mine kind of went away for a bit. You allowed me to express myself in different ways than I've been doing in the 5 previous years. You sharing and talking about the show brought it to other eyeballs, which has opened up other opportunities for me. And all of that I am eternally grateful for. I will talk wrestling until I'm in the ground. And I'm happy I get to do it here. I'm happy you get to see me recently in AEW. I'm happy I'll be still on Busted Open. I'm happy I'm still doing stuff with Bleacher Report. None of that stuff is changing. So I want to say thank you to everybody. I hope you have a great holiday, rest, relax, whatever you're doing. And kind of going to get in the think tank here for the next couple of weeks as it relates to what I want to do on this show and how I can get the most out of it. And a lot of that is also working out, work schedules and things like that and where I'm going to be at. I don't want to promise things I can't deliver on if I literally won't be here. But I think I'm looking forward to, not that like I said, I'm not a big calendar guy, but I'm looking forward to things as we move forward here. So happy holidays to everybody out there. Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Happy New Year. Keep an eye on our social media at WrestlingMatt23, at the Matt Camp. Still be posting some things there. And I hope you check it all out. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining me on this Friday. I know it was like kind of a surprise stream, but good to be with you all. Thanks for everybody in the comments. And I will be back. When? I can do the math now. Oh, I'll be back in 2025. Talk about wrestling even more. Right here on the Wrestling Mat.